A few years ago, we started a little organization here in Provo using BYU as a laboratory to provide microloans, tiny little microcredit sources to Hispanics in the area that are unemployed or underemployed, poor, and seeking a better life. And many of them, because they did not have legal papers, could not obtain jobs in the formal economy. So we were addressing the needs of the informal economy and attempting to use our business skills and our management understanding and our entrepreneurial insights to empower the poor. One of the first clients we met was a woman named Maria from Guatemala, and she had come to the States with her husband and 3 little girls for a better life. They'd lived here a while. He had a job, but he couldn't maintain that job. He didn't have legal documents to be hired again. And so they would move around, and he'd do some temporary work. He'd do yard work. He would do what he could to try to bring in a little fund for the family. But it was difficult. And eventually, he took off. He disappeared. He said, essentially, I'm in the U.S., I'm free, I'm going to make my own way, good luck. And she had no way of knowing where he went or what he was doing. And here she was with 3 children. She only spoke Spanish. And she had some skills from her background in Guatemala. So when she heard we had this little organization called Mentores para la Microempresa, or Micro Business Mentors, she signed up to get some training and then start a business, hopefully. She was very committed to working. She knew she had to labor, and she was very appreciative of the fact that now she was learning some business skills, how to be an entrepreneur, how to register a little business, how to get some funding through our microenterprise fund to start with, and then hopefully grow her business and not only have a flow of income for herself and her family, but perhaps hire others. And that's exactly what she did. After 8 evenings of training over a several-month period, we had a graduation party. We celebrated. We gave her a certificate and gave her $500 to start a micro enterprise in Provo, Utah. Provo has been growing as a magnet, so to speak, for many Latinos from across the border wanting to have a happier future for themselves, wanting to finally have a sustainable lifestyle, finally be able to feed their children, to stay in the same place for a year so their kids had a regular class, a regular school with teachers they knew, with the community support system. So Maria got this loan. Our team had helped her. One of our leaders, our mentors from Micro Business Mentors, was an El Salvadorian business student and pre-med, and he was her mentor. And after she received the loan, she started to plan her business in more detailed fashion. Her mentor, her consultant, helped her do that. And about 3 weeks after she had graduated, she came back to see us and tell us what happened with the start of her business. She was smiling, big happy smile. In Spanish, she told us. She said, I got my loan. I went to the barber school in Provo and bought material to become a barber, to essentially create a hair salon without a building. So she became a walking barber shop. She purchased 2 large sacks of cloth, and then she bought clippers and combs and razors and shampoo and dyes for coloring people's hair, etc. She loaded those in her bags, and she wore a barber's apron and went door to door in the poorer sections of our community, especially in the Latino neighborhoods, in the barrios, or the barrios, where she knocked on doors and would say things like this: Good afternoon. I'm your neighborhood barber. My name is Maria. I'm from Guatemala. Does anyone here need a haircut today? I charge $2 for children, $5 if there's a man in the house, $10 to $15 for a woman. And I will provide whatever services you need. And she would go in their kitchens and she would cut hair. And she'd make $3 here or $6 there. If the woman wanted her hair done in curlers or wanted it dyed and major overhaul, like she would get in a salon for $25 or $40, she would provide it for $10 or $15. And this little business began to grow. She paid her loan off ahead of time, in full, with a 10% interest. And then she got another loan for about $800, and she took off throughout the community to do the same thing. Eventually that business grew and she was able to hire her sister, and it became a kind of a family enterprise. And then she hired another friend. And by the time she was wrapping things up with her success of the first year, she'd received a $2,000 loan. She had 3 people working with her. She was generating profits. She had paid off all the loans. She had paid off for her equipment. And that is just, to me, an amazing example of Latino creativity, of the poor being willing to work, having great ideas, and just needing a little bit of credit and a little bit of training to be able to manage a microloan and change their circumstance and lift themselves out of poverty, one family at a time, one step at a time. And that's the future, I think, of microenterprise in the United States.